Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. And here basically are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation basically we are discussing one of the topic that is future creation. In future creation basically we are discussing one of the topic that is India account, SBI account, and Amazon account. And after 2 days basically the big earthquake is going to come to India. Basically. That is the topic. In that basically in earthquake topic basically we are discussing lots of things. In that basically we are discussed lava data, this data, that data, those data, everything basically is data. In this basically we discussed one story also of the Sunilar Nair basically. In that basically 1 crore people basically was connected with Sunilar Nair, and they basically told that basically they generated each people basically generated certain level of stories basically. So that also basically we discussed. Now basically the topic is one other person told that assume that basically suddenly basically land get divided. Suddenly basically land get got divided. So what might be the reason basically? There might be some reason basically. Without the reason any, the land will not get divided basically in two parts. Basically. So assume that basically some parts of countries land basically suddenly is getting divided. So what might be the reason basically? One of the person told that, क्या मतलब what would be the reason basically? Because if land is getting divided, that means something basically problematic is basically is happening. Problematic might be the future data, current data, past data, which is connecting to the current data. For example, past data connecting to current data means the people who died basically they are basically getting new birth basically. Like Ambedkar is there, Chhatrapati Shivaji is there, then the Sayajira Gaikwad is there. They all basically gets the new birth. Why? Because their bodies are very powerful. Basically. If their bodies are very powerful, that means they gets the birth basically. They gets the new birth basically. Why? Because they are very powerful. The person like Sunilar Nair, the normal person basically, they can't get the new birth. Why? Because the first of all, basically, you required money basically. For anything, basically, you required money. So that is the main thing basically. And that only basically we don't have. That means me and like normal person like you basically the people like Reliance, they basically can have their father into second birth. They basically can have the second birth. They basically can have basically the second birth. Why? Because they have the money basically. So when basically the Bhuj basically earthquake basically happened, that time Reliance basically was there basically. But currently basically he might not be there. So he basically got another bird basically, and chain connected. So one person told that here basically you are not getting job. That means few rich people basically are connected and few rich people basically are controlled by set of level of group basically. That means you are not getting job basically. That's why. Political people are also basically creating problem for you to you basically. Because you went to Mumbai when you basically went to Bangalore that time basically you were not you basically went to Ahmedabad also basically there also basically you have given one interview there also basically you have not got the job. So one person told that the land which gets divided, for example I basically went to Ahmedabad and I basically not got the job. So due to my energy basically the land will get divided into two parts basically of Ahmedabad basically or basically three parts, four parts, 10 parts, 9 parts. This is possible basically. One person told that from your energy basically that is not possible. But there are basically many energies basically in this world basically. There are few energies only that are basically mostly might be the number you can count as 100 basically. There are basically few energies that in that basically Chhatrapati Shivaji energy is also connected basically. Assume that basically he visited Ahmedabad and somebody basically done something to Chhatrapati Shivaji basically. Because currently he is basically is not having the Chhatrapati Shivaji role basically. Currently he is having some other different role basically. Why? Because he basically ended basically from world legally. So the person basically like Sunil Arnair basically went visited Ahmedabad and Mumbai and Bangalore basically. Sunil Arnair basically was insulted by companies. So there basically in land basically something is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Why? Because Sunil R. Nair basically is a poor person and he is basically not powerful. Basically. But the person like this basically name basically I have taken. For example, Lal Bahadur Shastri basically. He visited Bangalore. And currently on paper basically Lal Bahadur Shastri basically died basically long before basically. Long before basically he died in front of the world. But history never ends that basically everybody knows. History never ends that basically everybody knows. History never ends that everybody knows. Basically. So one person told that, yeah, the people like Sunil Nair basically is a normal person. So they basically insulted Mumbai basically insulted, Bangalore insulted, Vadodara is insulting, Ahmedabad basically insulted. So anything is going to happen to land basically. It will get divided into many parts basically. That is possible basically. Not possible. Why? Because Sunil Nair basically energy is not connected up to that level. But few people body basically like 100 people basically I given the name basically. If their energy basically gets insult, then basically the land will get divided. That are very few energy, very few. Basically. But the people who are taking care of the land basically, they know that basically which energy is not to insult. And if they will insult, then basically what are the things basically going to happen that they know. So Mumbai people basically know that basically. If he will insult Sunil basically, nothing is going to happen. His energy is basically bekar hai basically. He is basically bekar person basically. What basically is going to do basically? Anything basically is going to do from his energy basically. Nothing basically. भाई बेकार आदमी है भाई. He is बेकार basically. So one person told that land basically gets divides according to this way only. Because in there are many cities basically where basically this type of incidents basically has never happened basically. For example, in Ahmedabad basically has ever basically seen the dividing land data. Then basically Vadodara see people basically have basically ever seen the dividing land. Dividing means land will get divided. Mumbai group basically has seen that the land basically gets divided suddenly basically. Bangalore city basically have basically seen ever basically land gets divided. No basically. Why? Because the energies are connected up to that level of the Bangalore city. So one person told that, is there any basically land in this world basically which is telling that basically we are the most powerful land and we are basically most weak land. Basically. Weak land means anything basically happens in the land basically season related land gets divided. So one person basically asked the question basically, which is that land basically, which is most powerful and which is more weak. Why? Because it's connected to the energy basically. Their energy and their land basically is created up to level the energy basically. That's it. So one person told that political people basically has not helped you, right? Basically, when you basically visited Mumbai, that time you the political people were supposed to help you, but they are not helped. When basically you visited Bangalore, that time also basically they were supposed to help you, but they are not helped. That means basically anything is going to affect to political people basically. Nothing is going to affect. They are basically same basically having their lifestyle basically. Anything basically has happened to that people basically. Anything basically happened to any of the people basically. No basically. Why? Because the power of Sunil Nair basically is worth basically. The power of Sunil Nair basically is worth basically. So another person told that Sunil Nair basically power has become worth basically. Sunil Nair basically power has become worth. So Sunil Nair basically is connected with zero power basically. Sunil Nair basically is connected with zero level power. He don't have any power basically. If he don't have any power, then basically what he is basically going to do basically. That is question basically. That is question basically. That Sunil Nair basically power is zero basically. Nothing basically is connected with. So Sunil Nair basically power is worth basically. One of the person basically told this. Basically. So one person told that here basically that means anybody basically can do anything to Sunil Nair. Basically. Ahmedabad basically one of the person basically taken the interview, 3 hours basically interview taken, and then basically he told that basically I will let you know basically, and he basically never let me know basically. That means basically there is no power of Sunil Nair basically in this world basically. So one of the person told that anybody can insult Sunil Nair. Anybody basically can insult Sunil Nair. Anybody basically can insult Sunil Nair. So one person told that, yeah, basically everybody is basically insulting Sunil Anand. Ahmedabad software company is selling that basically chal nikal. Bangalore software companies are telling basically chal nikal le. Mumbai software company is selling that chal nikal le. Vadodara software company is selling that nikal le. And they are basically in one land basically. So basically, why that nothing basically is happening to that land basically? That land basically nothing basically. Why that land is basically nothing basically is happening to that land area basically? Why basically nothing is happening to that land basically area? So one person told that there are basically 100 people in this world basically. Their energy basically, if anything basically gets effects, then basically the land will get divided at any cost, and that basically very rare happens. Why? Because the people who are into the land side basically, who are basically into government, who are basically into that, who are basically into the software companies, who are basically the big money people basically, they know that basically this person that are the 100 people basically, they are very dangerous. Basically. So you are not supposed to touch them basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this 100 people and their power.